Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome, my dear learners. This is a video for the subject of education, for the course of Bachelor's in Education, and for the paper of Educational Technology. This particular lecture is based on the topic which is related to teaching learning strategies and materials. Here, this lecture is going to discuss about linear and branch programming, which is the important styles of programmed instructions. This video lecture is recorded by Dr. Iram Khan. The course coordinator and the presenter of this video is Dr. Iram Khan from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. The academic expert or the reviewer of this video is Professor Jasim Ahmed from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. This video is produced under the project DTH Swayam Prabha Channels of Ministry of Education, Government of India. Hello dear learners, I am Dr. Iram Khan, Assistant Professor at Institute of Advanced Studies in Education, Faculty of Education, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Today we will be discussing the topic which is related to teaching learning strategies and materials, and here we will be emphasizing on the programmed instructions type, and those types which will be discussed here will be linear and branched programming. Let us start the discussion first with the objectives. The objectives of this session are to discuss the various types of programmed instruction, to describe linear and branch programming in detail, citing various examples from the classroom situations. Let us start with the term programming, what exactly it means. In programmed learning, the presentation of instructional material or the subject matter to the learner in a suitable form is termed as programming. And there are various types of programming which have got emerged out of various researches and experimental studies in the field of programmed instruction. Let us just have a look on all those different styles or different ways in which programming can be done. There can be 6 major types which can be mentioned here with all of you. The first one is linear or extrinsic programming. The second one is branching or intrinsic programming. Then we have got mathematics programming. Then we have got Ruleg system of programming. Then the next is computer assisted instruction, and we have got learner controlled instruction. Here in this session, we are going to focus on the first two, which are the linear or extrinsic programming, and then the next one, which is branching or intrinsic programming. So before elaborating the linear and branch programming, let us just have a quick know-how that what exactly all these different types are all about. So the first three styles, the linear, branching and mathematics, they represent the actual basic formats. The Ruleg system represents the deductive and inductive approaches in teaching. And then the other two styles, which are computer assisted instruction and learner controlled instruction, they are actually the ways and means of providing instructions and not the special or basic format of the programming. So in programming, usually the programmer makes use of the basic formats which are linear, branching or mathematics for developing different programs which are suitable to the computers, to provide to the learners through computers, or the instructions which can be controlled by the learner. So let us now start the discussion, which is based on the first two types, which are very important for all of you to learn, because a lot of MOOCs, a lot of massive open online courses and the online courses, whosoever is going ahead with doing any of the online courses, they would be getting apprised with this linear and branched programming styles. So we should know that what exactly is the basics of linear and branched programming styles. So we will be discussing it in detail here in this session. Let us start with the linear or extrinsic programming. The credit for propagating the linear programming style goes to B.F. Skinner. B.F. Skinner propagated this programming style in the year 1955. This particular style is very much related, or you can say that it is directly related with B.F. Skinner's theory of operant conditioning, which is based on the assumption that human behavior can be shaped or conditioned gradually, step by step, with the help of suitable reinforcement for each desired response. And we see that if we want an individual to do a particular thing which we want him or her to repeat, or we want him to learn, if we give some positive reinforcement, once the child does that particular activity, that child is eager to repeat that. And this is the basic assumption of operant conditioning. So positive reinforcement is given whenever a desired response is achieved. Consequently, in this type of programming, the instructional material is sequenced into a number of meaningful small steps, which are normally called as frames. So these frames are presented to the learner in the arranged sequence. And what happens? We provide the frame one at a time. So what happens? The learner is required to respond actively at each step. Once the first frame is presented, the learner has to respond on that particular frame. The learner has to learn it. And immediately after responding, the learner is given information about the correctness of the response which the learner has given. This particular act of giving a response reinforces the learner's behavior, and in this way the learner may be motivated to learn the next frame, the forthcoming frame, which is arranged in the sequence. And in this way the entire process proceeds. And by proceeding from one step to another, the learner may be able to acquire the desired learning experience in totality. So frame by frame we move, and once the first frame is achieved, we provide the information related to the achievement level, and then we provide the next frame. So the motivation level, the reinforcement which we are giving, becomes here very instrumental, and it is something which is driving the child or the learner towards moving ahead and learning the topic in a proper way. So this is something which is very much crucial for the linear or extrinsic programming. Now let us see this diagram. This diagram is going to make most of the things clear to you all. Basically, you can see that here there is a sequence of frames and a path of learning in the programmed learning, which is in very systematic or linear form. You can see that here the frames are arranged. The first frame, then it is followed by the second frame, then the third, the fourth, fifth, sixth. So you can see that in a linear way, all the frames are organized. The first frame is given or provided or presented to the learner at the entry level, which is the entry behavior. And then you can see that the sixth frame or the last frame is basically provided to the learner at the terminal behavior, or once the entire learning process is about to complete, then we proceed to the last step. And basically this path of learning proceeds from the first frame to the sixth frame. And this is somehow the arrangement of frames in the linear programming style. So this is something which basically gives a peculiar feature to the linear type of programming. This type of programming is referred to as linear just because of this arrangement of frames in a linear sequence. Here all the learners have to proceed to the same frames and in the same order. The whole instructional procedure is well controlled, and this control is very much extrinsic. It is exercised by the programmer, and that is why the linear programming is also called as the extrinsic programming. So the learner is not having any control. Basically, the person who is the programmer or who is the course uh, developer or the teacher is having the control over the entire exercise or the entire linear programming style. So that is why it is also called as the extrinsic programming, because the control is somehow not in the hand of the learner. It is given, or it is controlled, the entire program is controlled externally or extrinsically. So this is the linear programming basics. Let us try to understand the linear programming style with the help of one of the examples. The first thing is that the linear programming lays a lot of emphasis on making the sequence of responses errorless or error-free. So until unless the student or the learner gives right response, the system will not allow him or her to move ahead. This is the key point of the linear programming. And for this purpose, the steps are made so small and sequenced in such a way that the learner makes only correct responses throughout the instruction process. And then in this way, only positive reinforcement can be given. So you can just imagine a system where if a student is not giving a right response, he has to go back and he has to come with the right answer, come with the right response. And if the learner is not able to give the right response, then the right response will be given to the learner through the machine or through the system. So if the learner does not respond correctly to the particular frame, this particular individual may be required either to repeat the frame, or the machine or the system will be acquaint the learner with the correct response. The machine will provide the correct response, and then after getting that correct response from the machine, the learner has to input that particular correct response, and then only after giving that correct response, the learner will move ahead to the next frame. So in case the learner is not allowed to move to the next frame, uh, basically if the learner is not in a position to give the right answer even after a machine has provided the right answer, then this learner cannot move to the next frame. So until unless the learner gives the right response, the machine or the system will not let him or her move to the next frame. Let us understand this with a concrete example. Let us take the example of our solar system. Suppose we are teaching this particular response to the students of class 6th or 7th. We have made two small frames to let them understand some of the information related to solar system. So the first frame is that the earth on which we are living is an important member of the family of our solar system. And in the center of our solar system is the sun. Our sun is having 9 planets, including Pluto. These 9 planets revolve around the sun on account of the gravitational force. And the Earth is one of these planets, uh, these planets who are revolving. And now there is a blank space. And then the process is actually gone ahead, that after the blank space there is the sun on account of, and then there is again a blank space, and then the word force is written. And in the responses there are certain words which are juggled. So the first response or the first juggled word is around, and the second one is gravitational. So now the person who is supposed to give the response has to select from these two words. Either this will be the way in which the problem will be provided, or they have to fill the entry by themselves. And once they have filled the right responses, then the system, like if I have given the right answer in this way, the earth is one of them that revolve around the sun on account of gravitational force. So now I have responded in a correct way. So now the system will allow me to move to the second frame. Until unless I give the right response, the system will not allow me to move to the second frame. So this is the first step of the program, which is which is created for the purpose of providing a lesson on our solar system. Now see the second frame. What exactly the second frame gives us here. So in addition to the 8 planets, the second frame starts with information related to the 8 planets. And we all know that earlier there was a situation where the ninth planet, which is Pluto, was removed from the list, and then it again came back. So we can say that in addition to the 9 planets, the satellites of these planets, comets, meteors, and asteroids also are the members of the, and then there is a blank space which we have to fill. The learner has to fill. Then the line is continued. All these planets and the other heavenly bodies revolve around the, and then there is again a blank space, in their own, and then there is again a blank space. And then now we have to give the responses. So let us try to solve it. So in the first part, where we are saying that in addition to the 9 planets, the satellites of these planets, comets, meteors, and asteroids also are the members of the solar system. All these planets and the other heavenly bodies revolve around the sun in their own orbit. So in this way, we have correctly answered to this frame and the questions which were asked to us for completing and moving to the next frame. So we have now answered this frame very correctly. So we will be allowed to move to the next frame. So this is somehow the linear programming is basically running. So the student can proceed on their self-learning path by going from one frame to another, arranged in a sequential and systematic way in the linear programming style. So it's a very useful system. It is useful for those students who are um, who learn on their own pace. There is less time bound situations which are with these students. So it's a very good system which actually provides you ample opportunity to come to the right answer, and it goes on your own pace. So this was a very crisp example of the linear programming. Let us move to the next type. So this one is the branching or intrinsic programming. This particular style, the branching programming style, was given by American psychologist Norman A. Crowder in the year 1954. And in the words of Norman Crowder, branching or intrinsic programming is one which adapts to the need of the students without a medium of an extrinsic device such as a computer or any device which is managing or holding the entire responsibility. So in contrast to the linear programming, which was an extrinsic style, this particular style provides an intrinsic arrangement in the sense that it is not controlled extrinsically by the programmer or the course developer. In this particular programming style, a learner is free to make decisions, and the learner is able to adapt the instruction to whatever needs this learner is having. So the instructions which are given, the learner is very much liberated to follow those instructions. The learner can even adapt the instructions on the basis of the need which the learner is having. There are certain basic assumptions which are underlying with this particular style or the branching programming style. Let us see what are those basic assumptions. The first one is that the learner learns a thing better if it is presented in its totality or in the forms of meaningful components or units. The second assumption is that learning takes place in a very better way if the students are made to learn on the pattern of traditional tutorial methods. Then the next point is that the basic learning takes place during the student's exposure to the new material. So once a student is exposed to a new material, the better learning is going to happen. This is the third assumption. Then the next is that wrong responses do not necessarily hinder the learning of a correct response. So in a learning process, errors may occur. Like we have seen in the linear programming style, the entire program was working out that the learner must not do any error. The programming should be error free. Whatever responses we are receiving from the learner, they should not be having any error. But here, even errors are allowed. You can do errors while solving any problem. So this says that uh, in the learning process, errors may occur. If an error occurs, it may be detected and corrected. So you have to identify the problem and you have to correct it. This is the basic thing. And you have to correct that particular problem or the error before proceeding further on the learning path. So this is very important, that if the error is occurring, no problem, but you have to identify that here there is an error, there is some incorrect information which I have given. So the detection is important, and then you have to, after identification, you have to correct it before proceeding ahead to the next step. This is again very important. So the learner takes basically a very important role which is given to the learner, and the learning takes place better if a learner is allowed a lot of freedom. So we can say that here a lot of freedom is given to the learner. So sufficient freedom to take decision for adapting the instruction to whatever the learner is needing. Whatever is the need of the learner, on the basis of that particular need, the learner can adapt the system. The learner can go ahead with the adaptations in the system. Learning, the learning process will be very much better if each response is used to test the success of the latest communication to the student, and the testing is followed by remedial instruction. So you can see that this sounds much better because a lot of liberty is given to the learner, and we are testing, we are allowing him to do even the errors, because the learning process is not very crisp or very precise. We learn by our own errors, and the system provides the learner to do any error. But the point is that you have to identify your own error and you have to correct it. And there are certain remedial instructions which can be provided by the machine, by the program, in the form of correct, like in the way in which we can correct the errors. So that type of communication is inbuilt, which is provided to the learner. And multiple choice items which help more in the learning process than the forced choice or the single response items. Multiple choice items are provided where you can find much easier the process of selecting an right option is better, and it is easier for you to go for the right response, and even you can avoid the spelling errors. You can see that in the first example we have seen that you have to write the correct response, and once you have written the correct response, then only you can move ahead in the linear programming style. But suppose a person does a spelling mistake, then also the response will be not counted as correct, because there is a like there is a feeded response in the machine, and the response which the learner has given is going to be corroborated or is going to be matched by the response which is fed in the machine. So here there will be very very much there can be a case where a person does a spelling mistake, and on the basis of that spelling mistake the answer is not taken as a correct answer. But because here in the case of multiple choice items, there will be options given and you have to select from the options. So it will be much more easier for you to select the right response and move ahead. The learning is going to happen in a better and easier way. On the basis of those assumptions which we just have studied, let us try to evolve a procedure of branched programming. Let us try to outline the way in which the branched programming can run. You can see this diagram which is on your screen, and let us see that what exactly is happening here in this particular diagram. Let us first point out the first step. The instructional material is divided into units. Units of materials which are called as frames. Much information, one or two paragraphs or even a page, is provided in a frame. So here you can see that the size of the frame is a little bit bigger, and such a frame is considered to be a little bit bigger than the linear program, and this frame is given to the learner. The learner goes through the frame. After that, the learner is required to respond to multiple choice questions associated with the learning material of the frame. This learner has to discriminate and choose one right answer from the multiple choices which are given to him or her for evaluation. The learner moves forward if the learner answers correctly, but is diverted to one or more remedial frames in case the learner has not responded correctly. So you can see that here in this case, in the second diagram, in the second part of the diagram, if the learner is not answering correctly, the remedial frame will be given to the learner so that the learner acquires the knowledge and corrects his or her understanding. So these frames, the remedial frames, explain the matter afresh, ask the questions which elicit the right answer, and reveal the mistake which is committed by the learner in the first instance when the learner answered an incorrect question. Incorrect response was given on that particular question. So the mistake is also informed. It is revealed to the learner, and then the learner is now returned to the original frame. After solving the issue, after actually rectifying the mistake, the learner is again moved to the original frame. So this original frame, and then he proceeds to the next frame, and then to the next. So from first to second to third to, and then there can be n number of frames. So here the key is that you have to answer correctly. If you are not answering correctly, then no problem. You will be taken up to a remedial frame. You will be given some remedial responses. You will be assisted to solve your problem. First, you will be assisted to identify your mistake. Then you have to solve the issue. You have to rectify your mistake, and then you will be again moved to the next frame. After solving the problem, you will be moved to the next frame, and then if you are not doing any mistake, then again after completing the second frame, you will be moved to the third frame. So this is somehow uh, a very basic steps of the branch programming. So this cycle basically goes on till the learner passes through the whole instructional material at his or her own pace, and you can understand the entire system by this diagram which is in front of you, which informs us that what will be the path and when we will be diverting the student to a remedial path. You can see here in the second diagram, the once there is a mistake which has occurred, the learner is diverted to another remedial path, and once the learner has rectified the mistake, then he or she is moved to the next frame, or which is the second frame here in this diagram. So this is the basics of the branched programming style. Let us try to understand the branched programming style with the help of an example. As we just have learned that here the frames are a little bit bigger than the linear programming. So you can see that here there is a program where the first page is having the information related to that particular topic. So the first frame is called as the first page. In this first page, the information which is given is like this: the earth has been evolved out of the sun. Like the earth, many of its constituents got separated from it, but remained attached to it on account of its gravitational power. They still may be seen to revolve around their parent body, that is, sun. These are known as planets. There are 9 such planets. And we all know that Pluto was once removed, then it came back, and now it is known as the planet once again, and it is the part of the list of 9 planets, including our Earth. So these 9 planets include our Earth also. There are some heavenly bodies named as satellites in the solar system. They can be observed to revolve around their respective planets. The moon is one of such satellites. It revolves around the Earth. So this much information is given on the page 1, which is the first page of the program. Now, on the basis of this particular page, there are certain questions which are asked, and the learner has to answer the questions. First question is, what is solar system? And the options which are given here in terms of answering this particular question, number A is the sun and the illuminated space around it is known as the solar system. First option is the sun and the illuminated space around it is known as the solar system. The second option is the solar system consists of the sun and our earth. The C response is the solar system consists of the sun and its 8 planets, or the 9 planets. The 9 planets. Then the next is the solar system consists of the sun, its 9 planets, dwarf planets, satellites of the planets, and other heavenly bodies like asteroids, comets, and meteors. So these are the 4 responses. Question was, what is solar system? Now let us see that how you will move in the branch programming style uh, if you are giving the responses. And if you give A, the first option, which is the sun and the illuminated space around it is known as the solar system. If you have, suppose you have selected this particular point as your right response, in that case, what will be uh, the answer, or what will be the response which will be given by the system to you? The system will give you the response that your answer is not correct. For the correct answer, you are required to study the given subject material on page 1. For knowing about the illuminated space around the sun, you should read the subject material which is given on so and so page. So maybe this program is going to have many pages. So if one information is actually uh, asked to the learner beforehand, then even the program can iterate, or the program can inform the learner that for knowing more about that particular information, which page is to be referred. Now the first option is now uh, discarded. It is not correct. Suppose the learner has selected option number B. In that case, what will be the response which this learner is going to receive? The option number B is that the solar system consists of the sun and our earth. So this is also a wrong response. So the machine will give the instruction that your answer is not correct. For the correct answer, try to read carefully the content material provided on page 1. For knowing about the position of the Earth in the solar system and the relationship between the Sun and the Earth, you may read the content material given on so and so page. So this is the response which the machine will give if you have ticked the mark on the B response. So this is also discarded. Now suppose you have answered C as the right response. The C option is that the solar system consists of the Sun and its 9 planets, which is again a wrong response, but it is somehow partially correct. The Sun and the 9 planets are they consist they are the part of the solar system. So what the system will give you the cue that your answer is not fully correct. You have to once again glance on page 1 for the correct understanding. However, for knowing well about the relationship of the Earth, uh, 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 the Sun and the 9 planets and the necessary description about these planets, you should try to read the material provided in pages number this. So it has given you a redirection that which are those pages which you have to refer for knowing more about the Sun and the 9 planets. And it has redirected you to the pages, and also it has instructed you to read the first page again so that you can check out the right response. Now the last option, which is the correct option, which says the solar system consists of the Sun, its 9 main planets, dwarf planets, satellites of the planets, and other heavenly bodies like asteroids, comets, and meteors. This is the right response. If you have given this particular response as the correct option, you have ticked mark this response, then what you will get from the machine that your answer is correct. You can now proceed on page 2 for the further learning. Now, after your response is correct, it is correct now, so you are now in a position to move to the second frame or the second page, because here there is a complete page given as a frame. So here the instruction is given that now you can move to the second page where there is another set of information which is waiting for you. So this is the way in which the branched programming style goes on, and a proper learning process happens where even the child or the learner can keep on learning and keep on knowing more about the system and knowing more about the topic which is being taught. So it's a very good way in which you can provide learning situations to the learners. So after seeing the nitty-gritty of the linear programming and the branch programming style, let us try to recapitulate whatever we have studied. We have seen here that the programmer or the developer of any program can make use of a number of styles of programming, um, which can be presenting the learning material before the learners. The most commonly used programming styles are linear programming and branch programming. We have seen that B.F. Skinner, who has propagated the linear programming style, is known for the operand programming, and this entire set of programming runs on the key point that reinforcement is provided once a positive response, a desired response is received. So in adopting this particular style, the linear programming style, uh, we have to divide and organize the instructional or learning material which is related to a topic or subject into a number of small but meaningful parts which are called as frames. And these are to be created in such a way that the learner is allowed to respond to them immediately with minimum or no error. And in this way, we can ask the learner to make the learner's task easy in proceeding straightly on the learning path, on the learning way or the path comprising of these frames, the multiple frames. And this entire process goes on in the way or in the pace in which the learner is desired to do. So whatever pace the learner is willing to move, it is allowed to him to move in that particular pace. So here, in case the learner commits a mistake in between, this particular person is acquainted with the correct answer for reinforcing him to get continued. On the other hand, the next particular way, which is called as the branch programming style, which is propagated by Norman A. Crowder, this particular style, the learning material is presented before the learner in a bit larger sized frames than we have seen in the case of linear style. Usually, the multiple response type of questions, multiple type questions, multiple answer questions are used in the branch programming for responding on the part of the learner. If the learner responds correctly, the learner is allowed to proceed on the next frame. But if the learner is unable to do this, the answer or to solve the answer correctly, he or she is directed to go for the study of the instructional material of other frames. The redirection process is done, and for the required understanding and relearning of his or her part. And once this remedial process is over, then the learner is again allowed to give the right answer, and unless the learner gives the right answer, the remedial measures are given. So if the second time again the learner is giving the wrong answer, then again there will be remedial measures which will be given, and he or she will be redirected on the pages where he can get the right response. So in this way the branch programming runs, which is a very good way of dealing with the students, because here the students can learn more effectively because they can manage their own learning by without any type of extrinsic or external uh, type of control. Here the learner can control their own learning process. These are few of those references and the links which were used for the creation of this particular lecture. You can also go ahead and read more with the help of these links. Thank you so much for this time. We will see each other in another session another time. Thank you. We were watching a video on the teaching learning strategies and materials, and we discussed the programmed instruction styles or types, which are linear and branch programming. This video lecture was recorded by faculty at home during the homebound situation of COVID-19 pandemic using minimal technical resources. Technical errors, if any, are unintentional and may please be ignored. For any queries with regard to this lecture or broadcast, kindly send your email to techsupport@dth.ac.in. Thank you so much.